Hi friends, it's Miss Nikki. Today we are going to be discovering you're priceless to God, that you are treasured in our imagination station. Before we get started, let's review our Bible verse and Bible points for today. Our Bible verse says, "O Lord, you have examined my heart and know everything about me." Psalm 139:1. Our Bible point says, God knows you, God hears you. So welcome to the Imagination Station. I'm so glad you could join us. I can't wait to see what incredible things about God we are going to discover together this week. We're going to have so much fun together, but before we get started, I need to ask you something very important. Did you bring your imagination today? It's okay if not everyone remembered their imagination. It's our first day of VBS. But since we are at Imagination Station, we're definitely going to need a lot of imagination. The great news is I have an extra bit of imagination to spread around. And here's how you're going to get your imagination going. Need you to follow these directions. Are you ready? I need you to spin around 2 times. Ready? 1, 2. Then reach up to the sky, reach down to your toes, and wiggle yourself all about. Great! I got your brain and your imagination going. Well, I'd like to introduce you to some friends of mine. Meet Pogo and Ruby. I was just talking to my friends Pogo the poison dart frog and Ruby the macaw about this imagination stuff. Do you know what they told me? Pogo and his friends love living in the rainforest in Central and South America. It's an amazing place to see. The rainforest is full of huge trees, super long vines, and so many plants and flowers that you can't see through them all. That's a lot of plants and a lot of rain. The rain is very important. It keeps everything alive. Did you know that God is so amazing that He gave macaws like Ruby a special call they use to celebrate each day when the sun rises and when it sets? Isn't that amazing? I wonder what it would be like if we celebrated every time the sun rose and every time it set. Let's try this. Let's close our eyes and imagine we're macaws like Ruby out in the huge rainforest, sitting up high in a tree, waiting for the sunrise. Do you have your eyes closed? Are you imagining the sun coming up around the rainforest? Can you make macaw sounds? Oh, that would be such a spectacular sight and sound to hear. So I have the question of the day for us. Each day we are going to have a different question and you are going to help us figure out the answer. So here's our first question of the day. How long do you think macaws can live? Do you think macaws like Ruby can live up to 8 years or up to 80 years? You ready? What do you think? Can macaws live up to 8 or 80 years? Can you make a drum roll? The answer is they can live up to 80 years. In fact, they can outlive their human owners when they live in captivity. That is amazing. Well, today we have a science fun gizmo called the Decoder Disk. Take a look at it down there in the corner. It's blue and green. It's kind of mysterious. This decoder disk is a super secret way to communicate in code. There have been lots of times people use codes to communicate. Now, check out some of these codes. Some famous codes are shown right here, including one found on the Rosetta Stone, which was created even before Jesus was born. It's made of symbols that help scientists read ancient writing. Here's another code. This is called the Morse Code. People have used codes like this in the military and other places. They use dots and dashes, and those dots and dashes can also be created into sounds. Listen to this Morse code. It says, God knows and hears you. I found it so cool that people have used codes throughout history to send secret messages, just like the Morse code. Can you think of a time that you used a code to communicate? Well, we're going to try speaking in a code now. This code is called Pig Latin. Can you make a pig noise if you know how to use Pig Latin? And here's how you do it. You take the starting sound of a word and move it to the end and add a. For instance, let's use the word pig. So pig becomes igpay. Let's try some other words. Red would become edray. Dog would become ogday. Speaking of code is kind of tricky. Now think of something you want to tell others, but don't say it out loud. Think of how you'll say it using Pig Latin. Find someone in your house and tell that person your message in Pig Latin. See if they can figure out what words you are saying. Sometimes codes are tricky and mysterious. If you were a treasure hunter, you might have to figure out codes to find treasures. Figuring out codes can help us solve mysteries. Now, you're going to use that decoder disk down there at the bottom. And in your treasure bag, you're going to find the decoder disk and a notepad. You are going to write a code inside your notepad. First, write your name in code using your decoder disk. You'll twist the decoder disk to find the symbol for each letter of your name. Then you'll draw that symbol. Once you've found the symbol for all the letters of your name, you have your name in code. Once you've done that, I want you to think of a secret message you'd like to write in code. Use your decoder disk to write that code. Give that secret message to a friend or family member. See if they can figure it out using the decoder disk. Sounds like a pretty interesting job. I can't wait to hear about all your codes. So today, we are discovering that God knows you. You're treasured. You sometimes feel kind of confused or lost, sometimes like you are a secret message, and that God has to figure out your secret message. We might wonder if God really knows what's happening in our lives. We might even feel like life is confusing mystery and we don't know what's going on. But here's an important truth to remember. God knows you. You are treasured. Nothing about you is a mystery to God. He knows what's happening with you, and He's in control, working for your good. God created you, and He loves you. Always remember, you are treasured.